They told me working night shifts in a morgue would get easier with time. But nothing prepares you for the night the corpse came in crying. I work nights, alone in a morgue, 12 hours at a time. Just me, the dead, and a silence so thick it presses against your skull like a wet cloth. The job's simple on paper. Check the bodies in, log the names, greet the occasional shattered family member, and make sure no one, living or otherwise, goes where they shouldn't. The security booth sits 20 meters from the main entrance, a long stretch of concrete lit by one flickering sodium lamp. At 11 p.m., the doctors leave, the hallway lights dim, and the door seals shut like a tomb. From that point on, it's just me, and whatever's already inside. That night began like the rest, but just past sunset, an ambulance rolled in, stuttering to a stop like it had forgotten how to breathe. The two paramedics who stepped out looked wrong. One was drenched in sweat, eyes rolling like he'd been spinning inside a centrifuge. The other sobbed silently, lips trembling but producing no sound. I asked if they needed water, help, anything. "No," one croaked. "We just want to leave. Please, just take it." They opened the back, and the stink hit me like a fist dipped in rot. My nose burned. Something inside that vehicle was wrong, not just dead. I forced myself through the protocol, hands trembling as I jotted down the diagnosis: strangulation followed by impalement, found submerged in the black waters of a nearby lagoon. Then I checked the surveillance footage and nearly vomited. The paramedics hadn't rolled the stretcher inside. They hadn't even touched it. It moved on its own. The body was slumped sideways, legs twitching subtly like something inside was still trying to stand. The skull had split like a dried pomegranate, exposing gray, ropey matter writhing with pale maggots. Skin peeled from bone in slick, wet sheets. But worst of all was the thing still inside it. A broken, algae-soaked wooden stake rammed through the rectum and out the shoulder, flexing with every lurch, like it was pulling the corpse forward. They left it in the autopsy bay. I haven't dared go inside since, but the cameras keep glitching. It started around 10 p.m., a stench, thick and wet, curling in through the grate just outside my guardroom window. I recognized it immediately. It was the same nauseating reek that leaks up on hot days when they hose down the autopsy room. The stink of open entrails, old bleach, and death baked into tile. I grabbed the air freshener and sprayed until the air was cloying with synthetic lavender, then slammed the window halfway shut. But the smell didn't retreat. It thickened. It was like something was pressing its face against the grate, exhaling rot. I checked the monitor. For 10 full seconds, a slow wisp of white smoke coiled upward from the grate, like breath rising from a corpse in midwinter. It didn't disperse. It clung to the air, swirling like it had shape, like it was choosing where to go. I told myself it was nothing. I wanted it to be nothing. Then I shut the main entrance for the night, and the door to my on-call room slammed shut so violently it rattled the concrete floor beneath my boots. I didn't move. For a full minute, I just stood there, listening. The air felt wrong, like it had thickened into molasses. My chest tightened with a creeping pressure. Not panic, but something colder, older. The wind, I told myself. Just the wind. But something deep inside me screamed, that wasn't the wind. I made my way back to the booth, heart beating hard enough to blur my vision. The moment I sat down, my phone died in my hand. No warning, no low battery alert. 1 second it was lit, and the next it was a dead black mirror. Weird. Too weird. I pulled out my laptop. It whirred to life, then froze. The boot-up screen stalled and stalled for 20 solid minutes. No progress, just that cold blue glow on my face. So I stared at the camera feed instead, just to kill time. Big mistake. Inside the burial chamber, one of the metal trays shifted. Slowly, deliberately. It slid deeper into the shadows at the far end of the room, not jolted, not tipped. Glided, as if someone or something was pulling it in, away from the eye of the camera. It vanished into the dark corner where no surveillance could reach, where no living thing had any business being. I couldn't move. Couldn't look away. The tray didn't come back. And I swear to you, even through the grainy camera feed, I could hear metal breathing. Minutes later it began. Knocking. Dry, deliberate, unnervingly steady. Not frantic like someone in danger, rhythmic. Like it was testing something. Testing me. Every blow landed like a heartbeat echoing through bone. I felt my pulse spike, crashing in my ears like waves against stone. Panic took over. I killed the camera feed, flooded the booth with music, desperate to drown out the sound. But the beat of the knocks slipped between the notes. A tap, tap, tap on my sanity. Then, a knock on the window. Right next to me. Close enough to fog the glass. My breath hitched. I couldn't decide whether to scream or drop to my knees and pray until dawn. Every nerve in my body locked. My eyes burned. I didn't want to look. I didn't want to see what might be looking back. At exactly 4:15 a.m., the door to the guardhouse swung open. No breeze, no reason, just opened, softly, like it was inviting me out. I stepped forward, trembling, trying to shut it, but it was like something unseen was pushing against my arms, sapping my strength. My muscles felt numb, sluggish. My bones were full of water. The air clung to my skin like meat slime. And the stench, God, the stench. It wasn't just death. It was like something had died while screaming, and had kept screaming long after the flesh rotted off the bones. I could feel it watching me, feel it pushing its face against the back of my thoughts. I stumbled back inside. There, in the corner of the room, was the rosary, the crucifix, the small statue of the Virgin Mary hanging above the radio. It was the only thing in the room not touched by the cold. I dropped to my knees, shut my eyes, and began to pray, not out of faith, but out of desperation. I begged her. I begged the Mother of God to make it stop. I clutched my chest, whispering the words of protection, trembling with something that was colder than cold. It felt like my soul was bruising. The window slammed shut behind me, hard. The sound cracked through the air like a gunshot. And just like that, the smell began to recede. Not instantly, but like smoke being pulled through a vent. Bit by bit, whatever was here, whatever had come through, was leaving, or being pulled back. I looked up. It was 5 a.m., time to unlock the doors for the morning crew. I walked like a ghost into the hallway. My limbs felt foreign, like they belonged to someone who had died and come back wrong. From that night on, I never begin a shift without prayer. I don't even step inside without touching the crucifix first. Because something still lingers there. It's not human. It never was. And every time I enter the morgue, I feel it waiting.